Good evening, all. I'm Rob, and how are you all doing? We're here to talk about Cardiff City on the Cardiff City World show. This is your Mighty Bluebirds' first unofficial fan channel, brought to you by the beautiful people at Ace Podcast Nation. I'm joined by my baldy-looking chain, Matthew Angel. How the devil are you?
All good, buddy. All good. Halfway through the week, aren't we? So looking forward to home game now on Saturday. Feels as if we haven't game for a long time. I think obviously with that Blackburn game being cancelled because they were still in the FA Cup, it's been a while since we've been at home, really.
Yeah, it does seem to be fair. There's been a little bit of a while. I think that it's going to be a nice little welcome as well. But obviously, we'll touch upon it a bit. Nice to be getting the boys getting a home debut quite soon after joining as well, which was nice because it's been a little while, to be fair. I mean, we may as well delve straight into it then, really. We'll touch upon the Watford game just briefly. What was your thoughts then on the game? How do we go?
First half was decent, I thought. First half was decent. I'm going to move around because I've got to turn my vape is not charging, so I've got to charge that up. Decent first half. We played some decent stuff. I think second half, obviously Watford come back into the game a bit. They were a goal down. I know Bowler scored that wonder strike first half, but I don't think, up until that point, I thought he was really struggling to get, a foothold of the game. He was losing the ball and just silly mistakes. But I think, you could see how relieved he was when I don't know if you've seen the celebration.
Yeah.
See the relief on his face, I think. But
yeah, it just seemed like a weight was lifted off his shoulders, didn't it?
And hopefully, sometimes that's all it takes to, really lift somebody's confidence. So fingers crossed, that's, he's only going to go from strength to strength now.
Yeah.
Reese's mum in the chat there.
Here she goes, up Alona, up Reese's mum. Not literally, but sorry, Reese. No, that's it. I think it's one of those things for him now. It's how he reacts to a goal like that. Does he kick on and go back to where he was? What we know, 4
Before
5
he got injured,
really,
wasn't it? He just hasn't seemed the same person since he's come back from his injury. So hopefully now he can get a decent run of games and, like you said, show that form again, really.
Well, that's it. The thing is now they've brought in a few lads. Granted, not really a right winger to replace, but we know that Mayte can go out there if need be. In fairness, so his position.
What's your opinion on Tanner? Would you prefer to see Mayte there than Tanner?
It's a difficult one because I'm a massive fan of Tanner. I do like him, but he's far from the finished article, I think. I think he still needs a lot of development. But the thing is, yes, he's young to some respect, but in football terms, he's not that young now. He's what, 24? Is he? Am I chatting rubbish? I don't think he's not an early 20 sort of guy. So he needs to find his level for his sake, for his career, I think. There's no doubt about it, he's got ability. There's no doubt about it, the boy can play, but whether this is his level, I don't know, but I am a big fan personally. I just hope he does.
He is early 20s. He's 22 in May.
Oh, yeah. Christ, I'm aging him already. Jesus Christ. You got ages yet, and Tanner, boy. You're fine. You've got plenty of time yet, lad.
And, would he have benefited from going out on loan? But then I suppose, he has proven and he has shown what he can do. but unfortunately, he just haven't had that run of games to be able to have that consistency and perform consistently. Then really, because he's come on from the bench and he's made real impacts. No more than that one against the Jacks, and he scored that wonder goal. But then other games, then he's started, and he looks a completely different player starting the game than what he does coming off the bench. Then, in my opinion, and that's my opinion only. Other people might think different, but
just to play devil's advocate on that goal, then I suppose. Do you think he's riding the coattails of that goal too much?
I don't think you're going to ever ride that too much. He'll be a legend now as long as he's there. But I just think, I don't know, some games I watch him and I think he's a million miles away. And then sometimes he does a bit of magic and, you think he's the next best thing since sliced bread. But, I wouldn't have been disappointed if he'd gone out on loan, really, just to get him regular game time to develop. Because like you said, he's a youngster. I can't remember what kind of contract we've got him in on, but he's definitely one for the future. Being 21 years of age, I just think he needs that run of games, to have them consistent performances. Because I think 10 minutes here and there is not helping him at all.
So, would you start him then over Mate then, if that's the case?
No, I like Mate. I think he's strong on the ball. He's got a lot of pace. He's not afraid to put it about. I think, Mate would have the nod in front of Tanner for me, to be honest. And that's why I said it. I wouldn't have been too disappointed about him going out on loan, really, just to get that game time under his belt. But obviously, it's, what do I know, like?
What about over Grant then? On the other opposite side, would you look at him over Grant?
Potentially, yeah. I like Grant. I like his work ethic. Probably I haven't scored enough goals for us or created enough chances, I wouldn't have thought. But hopefully now with, a couple of better midfielders and Ramsey coming back and some better balls played through, perhaps, hopefully we can see him perform a little bit better now the second half of the season.
Yeah, that's a good point. I've said it many times on this show, whether it's in the comments or live. Like, I like the effort that Grant puts in, but you know what's coming? What I'm going to say, he's just all fart, no poo. Like, I think this is the name of our show. Should be all fart, no poo. In fact, it's not a flower hour. Just call people out on being all fart, no poo. But then I think Si's touched upon it in great depth before. Like, would he be more problematic for the opposition if he was as an out-and-out striker instead? It's an interesting one because we still seem to be quite top-heavy, don't we, with attackers, but the ones who can make the cut and cut the mustard.
I don't think we've got anybody there who's shining through like we've got a Tete, Mate. We haven't got an out-and-out goal scorer who's banging goals in left, right, and centre. Have we really? It'd be interesting to see now this. Is it Jeju? You're supposed to pronounce it.
I'll leave it down to you to pronounce how.
I wouldn't be surprised if he gets the nod in front of a Tete on the weekend. And then I'm not sure who they might play behind them. Will's back in the house. Are you still on holidays, Will, or are you back in God's country?
Well, it's nice to know he's had a shower for the show, in fairness, even though, we can't physically smell him, so it's nice of him to have a shower for us. So cheers, Will, mate. I hope you had a nice time away, boy.
But yeah, do you reckon Tete will start on Saturday? There's been mixed reviews of his performance Saturday. Some people have said that he done all right, and some people think he's still, again, way off it. But again, he's young as well. It's surprising how young he is.
Yeah, he's got to be about 21, isn't he, Keon, I think. Yeah, he's I'm not going to age him like I did the Tanner. I'm sure he is literally like 2021, isn't he? I think he's not he's not an old boy.
22, I think he's 23 in November.
Christ, I'm awful these frigging ages, isn't I? Yeah, okay. So I mean, I suppose that moves us on quite nicely. And for the 11, if I can go first, if you'd like me, so you posed the question on Big Keon. Excuse me. I personally don't think there will be many changes. I think it will. Bullett's not. We all know Bullett's not a big fan of keeping the same 11 every match on the bounce. There's always at least one change. I think personally, it'll be same back five. I think it'd be Grant, CO. I think Turnbull comes in for Wintle. I know we touched upon it before we come on, which is a bit harsh. And if anyone who turned into the Flower Hour on Saturday after the game, knows how much I personally praised how good Wintle was. I thought it was one of the best performances he's done for a very long time on the weekend, personally. But I do think he'd be dropped out on Saturday. I think Bowler goes on the wing. I think Ruben starts. I don't think Ramsey starts. And I think that Deo starts up front instead of Keon. So I'd say two changes from the last weekend's game. What about yourself, mate? How many changes, if any?
Yeah, probably not far off what you've said, really, depending on, obviously the manager have had a lot more time now to work with players and new systems. And, I've been thinking to myself a bit this week. Obviously, Nat Phillips they've brought in, they're not bringing him in just to sit on the bench type of thing. So, is he going to want to go to a back three and perhaps play two wing backs?
Well, that's it. I think there was a clause in his contract, wasn't it, that he has to play a certain amount of games of time. We're not stupid. We're not going to find out exactly what percentage of games he's going to have to play. But I think it's going to be interesting.
I wouldn't be surprised if they go to a back three, but
no, I think so too, mate.
Whether or not they do it this week, with it be it, perhaps they might, spend a bit more time on it. Like I said, I know they've had a bit longer together now, but yeah, it'd be interesting to see. But you couldn't fault that as a back three, like Gutas and McGuinness. To drop either one of them, I think would be very, very harsh because they've made the odd mistake here and there, but they've been pretty solid for us all season, in my opinion. So to drop either one of them, I think it'd be a bit naughty, but nothing surprises you in football, does it really?
No.
Other than that, I agree. Probably Turnbull will come in. But again, then I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't change much at all, really, and brings the new guys off the bench as well. So yeah, it's interesting. It's nice to have all these options, really, don't it? Rather than perhaps previously we pretty much know what the starting side would be.
Yeah, I think one thing for certain that we're both in agreement is he's not going to pull the trigger on Ramsey to start. Then we don't think he's going to start against Preston.
I don't think so personally. I think he'll probably ease him back in now gradually. He's only been back in training a couple of weeks. It'd be nice to see him get 15, 20 minutes perhaps on Saturday. I might be completely wrong and barking up the wrong tree, and he might start him. I'd love to see that, but I think he'd probably gradually just return him back 15, 20 minutes here, half an hour there, and get him back in that way, really.
Yeah, for the length of time he's been out, I don't think it'll be a rush job, will it? I don't think.
No, and like we alluded to on Saturday, just having him in and around the changing room, kitted up, is a massive boost to everybody. Nice, Will. And I just think, he is that bit of magic that you could rely on if, things are not going well. And let's be honest, Preston's not going to be an easy game on the weekend. They had a good result last week. I think they just held on against Ipswich, didn't they? Beat them 3-2.
Yeah.
Kiefer Moore scored 2, but we won't talk more about that.
No.
3-0 up and then to come back to 3-2. But looking at their results, they've had some weird results. That I think just before Christmas they got battered by Watford 5-1, but they've beat Leeds as well, and they've had some really decent results. I think the results with Preston are always normally pretty close. I think I was looking earlier at previous results, and I think the last 6 games, Preston have only won 1. It's the last 6 league games, and Preston have won 1. We've won 3, and there's been 2 draws. So, it's not going to be one-way traffic. And the same with every game in the Championship. They're all difficult games. You can't really. I don't expect as many accumulator winners in the Championship. Let's put it that way.
No, you're absolutely right. I think Preston are the epitome of your cliched Championship team where they can go win 3 games in a bounce and then lose 4 in a bounce. They are that, and they do have that in their locker, don't they, to go and do that, to be like that. But
was that Flower under 9s rocking defense for there then sneaking into the background?
Trying to get himself on the internet, wasn't he? Master Boyle, up a Flower.
Yeah, happy days. Josh is he had an overnight trip last night down to Cardiff Bay with the school.
Oh, really?
He was flat out on the settee by 7:15. So top goal scorer, flat out.
Yeah, good lad. Get a rest in ready for the Thursday and the games on Sunday, boy. That's the hammer.
Yeah.
Of course.
Carlin, darling. You must have shares with Carlin, Rob.
Wait, if these someone at Carlin for me, so they can get a sponsor. I'm sure they'll be happy to sponsor.
Not that you're promoting that type of lager. There is plenty more other types of lager.
Yeah, other watered down alcoholic beverages are available.
What type of crowd do you reckon will be there Saturday? Do you reckon it'll be a fairly decent crowd? Bearing in mind we haven't had a home game for a while.
I think so, because I think you won't be far away from a sellout, because it'll be the anticipation of the first game home for a long while, and also I think the anticipation of Ramsey coming back as well. Amongst the new boys as well.
Do you think this time of year, though, with the Six Nations and the rugby, has an impact on some of the attendance figures? I think it is.
It's bound to, isn't it? For your
England,
Wales fans and stuff like that. Yeah, it's bound to. It's bound to take. Your diehard week in, week out, home and away fans is not going to deter them at all. But your casuals who go now and again, I think, especially from a Boundary way, they'll probably be, with all due respect, they're probably more inclined to go out and have a sesh, watch rugby, to be honest, and watch Wales England.
I reckon we'll probably end up having about 22,000, I reckon. I think that'd be fairly decent, really, to be fair, against Preston. Be interesting how many they bring down, because there's a bit of a track for them, innit?
Yeah, it's a fair old way, in fairness, isn't it? From Lancashire. Fun fact about Preston, by the way, that's a lovely little lead for me. Did you know Preston opened the first KFC in the UK.
I didn't
True
know.
story. True story, mate. It was in 1965.
Good old Google.
Do you know? No, I knew that. It came up in a
It's like
pub
one of your
quiz.
Christmas crackers, was it?
Yeah. 1965. First KFC opened in the UK was in Preston. So
I wonder how much a bargain bucket was back then.
bargain probably. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one, to be honest. Like you mentioned before in the previous fixtures, like we are two peas in the pod, I think, with ourselves. I still, as most people probably was in the comments, always flashback to that. I'm sure it was the last game of the season, wasn't it? And we had to avoid a certain goal difference. And Preston put, was it like 5 or 6 Preston put on Cardiff?
I can't remember.
And they took their place, or was it they took Cardiff's place because we lost 5 or 6? It was something like that. Someone will probably correct me now in a second.
Come on, Reese.
Yeah, I'm sure it was like Cardiff lost 5 or 6-1, something like that, and they lost their playoff place to Preston.
How long ago was that then?
What's that?
How long ago was that?
Oh, Christ. It gotta be.
Not that you're good with ages and dates and stuff like.
Nah, it's gotta be at least 10 years. Yeah. Here we are.
I can't remember.
6-0, and John Flicking Parkin scored for them as well. Yeah,
Big John Parkin.
Big John.
He's on that. Is he the one that does that under the cosh?
Does he?
I don't know. No, what am I thinking of? I'm sure it might
Gary
be.
Neville.
No, he's a prick, and all. Well, that's not really a swear word, is it? Reese will tell us now.
So it was according to Reese. Christ, can't keep up with these comments. 2007 ? He's not 100% convinced, but I back Reese to know. And Lorna's gone yes, so she's either saying yes to under the cosh or yes to 2007. It will remain a mystery. Oh, Reese has confirmed the power of all knowledge. There we are. Wise words, young man. Wise words.
Yeah, Reese, you're gonna have to get on your one Wednesday or one Saturday, buddy.
Oh yeah, 100%. Oh, parking under the cosh.
There we go.
Yeah, 100%. We have to, guys.
Reese and Lorna are in the same room, mind, and they both text in the same time.
They're sharing the same Wi-Fi, mate. That's why.
Yeah. But yeah, going back to the Preston game, man.
Yes.
Obviously, Ched Evans is still there. Obviously, I think he's obviously not the player he once was, and obviously he's gone through a lot. But I just think they talk about mental health nowadays and well-being, and I know obviously he got acquitted, didn't he, of whatever was allegations made against him. But fair play to him to still be there at that level after all the stuff he's gone through, because no doubt he still has all sorts, shouted at him on a weekly basis. I have no doubt to that, but obviously he's been acquitted of it. But, fair play for him to have that mental strength to get through what he'd gone through and to keep going, really.
I know it's about Cardiff, but did you or anyone see what what Jude Bellingham shouted at Mason Greenwood?
Yeah, that was a bit naughty, wasn't it? Has that been picked up by anybody, do you reckon?
No, I've not used anything since, but I did have a little chuckle. It was a bit naughty, mine, but
yeah. But he'll just say he said something else and say somebody's fiddled around with it.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. He's a doer, Reese. You're absolutely bang on.
Yeah. You are. Look,
Really
Reese
good
is
investigating.
full of knowledge, isn't he?
Do you know what?
We should change his middle name from David to Google. Oh, here he is,
Oh, Christ.
the boss man.
What's happening?
Evening, Simon.
What's happening, boys? You right, though?
Yeah, good.
I've been listening into you, rambling on. I even heard some rugby talk earlier.
Yeah.
What is going on? Can't trust you for 20 minutes not to talk about rugby.
I didn't invite you into the studio, so I don't know why you're here.
Yeah, well, it's my studio. It's the benefits of it, innit? Right, I just want to quickly I just going to completely derail your conversation. And I just want to do this giveaway. Big shout out to Martin Davis, who's provided the prize for the giveaway. So basically, I'm going to ask a question, and whoever answers it right will win the prize. I will even show you the prize because I'm still in two minds whether to do it, not like, just do it as the first person who gets it, or sort of run it till like 10 o'clock tomorrow night to give people a chance to enter and then put it all in a hat. So while I think about that, I'm going to give you a little picture. So you got one like that. Beautiful pennants. FA Cup winners 1927, Championship winners 2013, FA Cup finalists, 22-time Welsh Cup winners, League Cup finalists, European Cup winners, Cup semi-finalists as well. A beautiful little thing. And we've also got that one with all the, same details, slightly different colouring, and obviously a different badge and stuff like that. But a nice little bit of memorabilia to,
nice little
put in your background or whatnot. And so I'll ask the question in a minute. But before I do that, they are for sale.
I'll be on eBay.
Luxury Cardiff City pennants for sale in aid of the Cardiff City Football Club Disabled Supporters Association. They're individually packaged, top quality items. They're available if you go to the X or Twitter, as it's called, is at CCFC DSA via DM, or you can email ccfcdsa@gmail.com. I will put all that in the comments on YouTube so people can go back to it. You can also contact Martin Davis via the Premier Bluebirds Facebook group. So big shout out to Martin.
Yeah.
So what's the time now? It's 8:27, right? So tomorrow night at 8:27, 9 o'clock, I'll do it tomorrow because I'm going to be on live with Rodri. So it will close at 9 o'clock tomorrow. Everyone who gets the right answer will go into a random generator, and the winner then will be chosen. And the question to win it.
Do you know what time I think you should close it? 19:27.
There you go. 19:27. There we are. 7:27 tomorrow night. It'll be closed. 19:27. Well done, Matthew.
Hey, Matt,
what's your bank pin?
Not that.
No, it's obvious, isn't it? Everyone in Cardiff.
There's nothing in it to take
everyone
out.
In Cardiff's got that. I was going to say, like, if anyone wants to put some money into my bank account, we've got more chance. So the question is, friendlies apart, the last time a Cardiff City captain exchanged a pennant was in 2008 in the FA Cup final. Who was our captain that day? Do not shout out the answers, gentlemen, because I haven't told you the answers, so you can actually enter if you wish. 1927 Thursday. This will close, and I will add all the names to a generator, and I'll record it live so everyone can see. Yes, you got about 11 hours. 11 hours from now to get your answer.
Just little brain ticking.
Where do they send the answers to, Si?
You are. You can
send the answers to.
It's from the comments on this video, on this show, and I'll accept answers like message me. There's only two ways you can do it. Message me or drop a comment on this YouTube page. For the sake of ease, I suggest you do it in the comments. And I wouldn't copy certain people because they're going to get it wrong.
Reese, hurry up.
Yeah. So I was listening to what you were saying, and I was also reading along with the comments. You mentioned about the possibility that we might revert to a 3-5-2, which I know you talked about a little bit on Saturday, because if you look at it, he has reverted to that at certain times. The manager has. He does like it. But previously, it didn't work when he did it with the first team. However, now that he's got Phillips there, I don't think he's going to drop Gutas or McGuinness. I think he's shown like he trusts both of them. Gutas is his guy, and I think McGuinness is good enough to keep his place. So I wouldn't be surprised. I think in my preview last week, which was a bit optimistic, where I included a lot of the new signings, I did say I think he might revert to a 3-5-2 because that the young boy, Wilson, I forgot his surname, the lad from Man City, he is
Wilson Esprong.
That's it. Esprong. His best position is as a wing back. So if they're going to play a flat 4, then I'd expect to see Collins. But if he does revert to that 3, I think Wilson Esprand will be on one side and NG will be the other with the 3 centre-backs. Siopis, I agree with you on Wintle. Thought he had his best game in a very long time. But if Turnbull is fit enough to play an hour, I'd be surprised if he doesn't start. Because he's the guy which everybody's looking to be the catalyst to what we've been missing over the last probably 3 months or so. And I think there's a bit of pressure on him, mind, because he's come, people like myself and us and other people, everyone's talking him up about his attributes. He's set piece specialist, he's good on the ball, etc. He's got to do it now, isn't he? I thought Siopis looked good on Saturday as well. I thought he looked back to being himself. And a large part of that was because Wintle played well.
Yeah.
I think he struggled.
It takes a bit of pressure off him because he's a workhorse and he don't stop, in fairness. And, I think fans love that,
Cult hero, isn't he?
Similar with Grant, he just works hard. He's not perhaps the finished article and he hasn't scored as many goals as we'd like him to score. But, that work ethic is there. He does bust his balls for the team.
Yeah. Let me pose a question to you two then, right? Say he goes with 3-5-2 and we assume that the back 5 is what I just said with the Wilson Esprand and Perry NG as the wing backs. Siopis and Turnbull or Wintle or Rolls is the 2. And then you've got a kind of third midfielder and 2 strikers. What combination would you like to see if you were picking? So you've got one midfielder, whether you want to put him in a number 10 or you want to have a third central midfielder and then 2 strikers, or you want to have 2 behind 1 striker. You tell me which 3 players you'd put in which sort of combination to finish off that formation.
I'd have Caldwell playing behind that Jesus and Grant, I reckon.
Okay. What about you, Rob?
Excuse me. So no Ramsey.
Well, I thought
I don't think he's
start.
Well, no, see, I thought someone talking in general. Sorry. I didn't think you meant this weekend.
No, I just mean this Saturday.
I was too much in awe of Sai then. Yeah, probably agree with you, Matt, to be honest.
So,
excuse me.
Rob. Cough it up. I reckon if you'd asked me probably 3 months ago, I would have gone with Robinson up front with Jeju. But as you know, I don't want to repeat myself, his attitude's been stinking, and I really don't want him even in the squad at the moment. And I don't want to start this thing in the know crap, which I had a load of grief for before. But some of the stuff I've heard, I'm very surprised he haven't gone in January. I mean, he fell out with the manager publicly at the start of the season anyway. I think it's been there for everyone to see certain attitudes, waving of the arms. And he's not the only one. There's a couple. But him in particular, now that there's a bit of depth there. So put it this way. On Saturday, Robinson wasn't in the squad. Do you think that we particularly missed him from the bench or the starting 11?
No, not at all.
And there's an assumption there. If he is a person who's causing a problem within the group, not saying he is or he isn't, but if he was a person who's causing a problem in the group, I don't think that his performances justify disrupting the team ethic which is being built. Like if he was banging in the goals or banging in the assists, you say, all right, he might be a bit of a pain, but look what he's doing. But he's not. So,
and I think that Rob alluded to that a little bit earlier, saying that, we top heavy, we got quite a few strikers there now, but none of them seem to be, set.
You need like a mix of them, don't you?
Yeah, nobody seems to be set in the world alike, really. And, whether that's because, he hasn't had the right combinations, and obviously now we've had a transfer window to bring in some players that he's obviously looked at himself. Hopefully now we can kick on the second half of the season and start doing some damage, really.
Rob, do you reckon that Grant could be like a bit of a key to unlock stuff if he was up front, running in behind, turning teams around and getting in those spaces behind as a traditional sort of, speedy striker, if you like, alongside a target man like Jeju or whoever, Tete or even Mate. Do you think Grant could unlock more? Do you think he could score more goals from central area if he's played in that system?
Yeah, I think so. But I think he's the epitome of a striker who thrives on confidence. You've had strikers on in the past, and they thrive off having confidence, and goals brings confidence at the end of the day. So I think if he had a decent run up top and was scoring, a good average of his goals record, then there's no reason why he couldn't. We touched upon it earlier in the show. Me and Ainge did. I like Grant a lot. I'm a massive fan of him, but he just, on that wing, he just lacks that cutting edge. It's all well and good running and chasing and doing all the donkey work. Don't get me wrong, it is. It's great. He's doing the work that other people don't want to do. But there's got to be that end product as well. It's got to be that end product to just justify him being there, for me personally.
It's a weird one, isn't it? So, with the strikers, Matt just alluded to them. We've got a few number 9s who they all do a bit of something, but they don't quite. There's not one which sort of is good link-up play, good movement, but also scores goals. It's either Mate's got really good link-up play, but his finishing is not very good, or you've got a Tete who's got a bit of magic in him, but you just don't see it nearly enough. And then you've got Jeju. Obviously, we're going to wait and see how he goes. It's almost the same with Grant. I agree with you. His work rate is second to none. I can understand why the manager likes him, particularly to protect Collins and give Collins support. And I think sometimes NG gets caught out a bit. Not caught out himself, but he gets isolated because the winger on the right-hand side doesn't work as much as Grant does on the left. So Collins got to get a bit more protection. But if you look at it, you always want Grant's work rate and then either Bowler or a Tanner's kind of directness or bit of magic in them, and combine, you want a mixture of them. But obviously you can't do that. I would not be surprised when Ramsey is fit if we see Ruben Colwell come off the right or the left in the normal sort of 4-2-3-1.
I think he's wasted out there.
I agree, mate, but I think that when you look at his work rate and his performances, and then you compare him to some of the wingers, Ramsey's obviously going to come in the number 10, and then you've got a choice where do you drop Colwell completely to the bench, or do you see if he can do a job off the right-hand side or the left-hand side? And I mean, it's a weird one. But then I could also foresee a system. I think it was you, Matt, who said that you think Colwell in the future could end up playing striker. Was that you?
I can't remember who said it. Somebody said it.
Someone said it, didn't they, this week?
Yeah.
It may be on the phone in, maybe. I know I was on a show with someone, or I was watching
Yeah.
a show, and someone said
That's
they
an
could see
interesting
it.
point.
Because he's so big. Like, I've made the point, he's not like a traditional number 10, is he? He's not like small and got a low center of gravity, and, you know, he's big and he's strong and he's got a bit of skill.
He's got Kaka vibes, haven't he?
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if we did go to that sort of 3-5-2, if we end up with like Ramsey and Colwell behind whoever as an average, because he did that in one of the EFL games. He played like a 3-5-2 or whatever, but he ended up with playing, rather than playing two strikers and a number 10 behind, he almost played two number 10s and one striker. Personally, I don't think that works if the one striker is a target man. If you're going to have two number 10s creating, you have to have a striker who runs in behind. Otherwise, it's just congested.
I think it might work for some games, but it's not obviously going to work against
change things up, aren't you?
All teams. And, if that's the case and he's going to go with that, is that making sure you've got the right options on the bench then, that if things are not working, obviously you can make them changes to, change the systems up a bit. We mentioned back at the start of the show, I don't know if you listened right from the beginning, about Tanner. And I can't see him playing much now for the rest of the season. And that's my opinion. What's your thoughts on that side?
We should have loaned him out in the summer, in January. I'd have liked to have seen him go like Sheffield Wednesday, somewhere like that, and go and play week in, week out. I don't know if you saw my comment, which I put in there actually when you were talking about it. But basically, if you look at, just using Colwell as an example, look at the improvements we've just seen this season when he's had like a run of 2 or 3 games and he's played like an hour or 70 minutes or whatever. Look at the small improvements you get in those young players just from playing. Whereas Tanner hasn't really had that opportunity to make those small improvements because he gets 10 minutes here and there, maybe one start a month or something like that, if that. And I think it's very difficult.
Do you think he looks a different player when he starts the game rather than coming off a bench?
I think, much like some of the other players we've talked about, he's quite a confidence-based player. And I think it's difficult to build confidence in it if you're not starting.
Yeah.
And if you're not starting, like, it would be different if he was the one who was coming on for Colwell, saying, because Colwell seems to go off around the 70-minute mark most games. So if Tanner was coming on for the last 20, at least he knows, right, I got 20 minutes every game to sort of do something. But he doesn't. He quite often gets
playing against tired legs as well, and that's is where he seems to have more of an impact for me, really.
Tanner's definitely got something about him.
Yeah,
like 100%. He's got like that little bit of magic, but it's like he needs to play to hone it and to also to learn the little things, like, which I think Colwell is slowly starting to learn, of when to release it, when to dribble, when to carry, when to just move the ball quickly. And I think those little tweaks to your game, they only happen when you play regularly. And otherwise, like, if you're getting 5-10 minutes here, particularly if you're like 20, 21 or whatever, or younger, you're going on instinct a lot of the time. And I don't know. I feel for Tanner a bit, because I think we all have seen what he can do when he is in that sweet spot of confidence and magic and a bit of space or tired legs. But he hasn't perhaps had as much opportunity as I think some other. And I think, look, there's probably a few players like Tanner who maybe have had a bit of. They could probably have a little moan and say, "Hang on a minute, he's had a few bad performances, but he's still playing. He's had a few bad performances, and he still gets a chance. So why do I always seem to be the one who, effectively sits out the majority of the games?" I think, like I've said before, I thought Bowler's up until Saturday, his attitude's been pretty poor, but he always seems to get a start. And
he's played Mété on the right as well, and I quite like him on the right, to be honest, Mété, because he's strong, he's got plenty. What's your thoughts?
The lack of pace with him, I think, is the.
I don't know. I think he's quite quick, and when he's got a ball, he can beat players.
He's a weird one, Mété is, because I don't really know where his best position is. Like, is he better as a winger? Is he better as a striker? Do you know what I think he would benefit from if playing up as a striker is if he had a Grant or a Robinson, like a quick player who could play off him, because his Mate's link-up play when he was playing up front was excellent. Like his close control under pressure was really good. And like if he had like a little Michael Owen next to him who's like, running in behind and quick, I feel like that's what target men want, isn't it? They want runners. And
Michael Owen when he was playing for Liverpool or Man United?
Oh, Jesus. The Man United one. Jesus Christ, that was painful, isn't it? Do you know what I mean, though? Like, when you look at the systems that all these teams line up as, it's all like 4-2-3-1, and you have two wingers and like a number 10. And I quite like the system, but to really, really get the best out of a target man, who's quite often the sort of point of that system, you need runners. And I don't think Cardiff movement off the ball is quick enough or good enough to really get the best out of.
We haven't had that for a long time, have we?
No, we're so static a lot of the time, and I saw a lot of people complaining before Christmas about the possession play and we're playing from the back and we're going sideways, and we were playing the same way at the start of the season. The only difference was that passing from the back had more purpose. So it was quicker and it was through the lines and it was progressing up the play to beat other teams' press. So to me, there was probably two reasons why that ended up happening. And I don't know, Rob, if you'd agree with me, mate, but like what I would say is the one reason was teams probably found us out a little bit because there was more footage of us playing under our new manager. So teams maybe held off the press a little bit. And then the second reason was Siopis was struggling because the person next to him kept changing, and the more it kept changing and Wintle fell out of form, then he kept trying to do two roles. He was trying to be the destroyer but also be the dictator, and I don't know, like the way we've tried to play hasn't changed. It's just the tempo of it, I guess.
Yeah, I agree, mate. I think I think that's the fact. The reality is we got found out. Like, I think we got tired. We had a few injuries, and we got found out. I think that's the fact of the matter. What's happened with our dip, with this injection now of these new lads, with one or two coming back as well. Hopefully, we can kick on, but we need to have a different approach as well, I think, to run to instead of just going to the same option all the time.
Yeah.
Would you feel more confident then? Question to you both, right? Would you feel more confident with playing that 3-5 whatever
3-5-2
if O'Dowda was fit and have him on the left?
Yeah, I would. But then also I've heard that this Wilson Esprit is supposed to be pretty good, I'm eager. I'm quite keen to see him play in that role. Do you know what system I would play at home against teams like Preston, which are going to be a tough game, but we're capable of beating if we turn up? I'd play 4-4-2 and or 4-1-1 sort of thing. So I'd play like two wingers and tell them to play traditional overlapping fullbacks, tell Siopis to kind of patrol, hopefully have Turnbull in there to play a box-to-box role, and then I'd play Colwell off whoever and tell him, if you play Colwell off, say Grant, who's someone a bit smaller, you tell Colwell to be a bit higher so that he can act as the target. And if he's playing off a target man, you would tell him to drop a bit deeper and play as just like a deeper striker. I think the one thing that we could do with doing whatever system we play is we need to get the crowd going at home. And the way you do that is a fast attacking start, like high intensity, tackles flying in, like high press, working hard, and get the crowd up. Because I'm fed up of hearing moans and groans and then booing at half time. Like, yes, the crowd has a responsibility. And like you guys will have seen me say, like, just get behind the team. We're doing much better than anyone thought we were going to. We're not in the relegation battle, so just get behind the team no matter what and see where we go. But also the team has a responsibility to get the crowd up, I guess. Do you agree with that, Matt, or not?
Yeah, I agree with
the
that.
fans should just. Do you think fans should just be fans and support the team, whatever, or do you think that the team has a
fans are too fickle
responsibility?
These days, aren't they?
Yeah, I think it's been the same over the years for as long as I've been going since I was 7 or 8. I think our expectations as Cardiff City fans is that we should be top of the Premier League type of thing, which is not realistic in hindsight. But those expectations are always there, so it comes with a lot of pressure. But we've been to some home games this year, and the atmosphere is dead, and that's all you can hear sometimes is the away fans. And obviously, granted, I'm in the family stand with my boy, and you're obviously going to hear them more than the home fans. But I'd love to replicate, going away, having away games, and I know it's completely different, but imagine having that atmosphere right around the ground. It'd be absolutely, and that's what we used to have at like Ninian Park. Ninian Park used to be bouncing, and
this is what I was just about to say.
Yeah. Like literally, this hits nail on the head. Like this, fans been crying out for this since like
since the day they opened the stadium.
Yeah, I just don't see the logic. I do not see the logic in this whatsoever.
It's got to be something to do with safety and stuff like that nowadays. I don't know.
But surely it can't be nice though, like
policing and stuff.
Like if you with the kind of being that so close to the away end, from a child-friendly perspective, there must be so much noise coming from the away end, which the little ones can hear. That can't be ideal, surely. Now, I don't go in that end personally, but surely there's got to be a lot of profanities that, I don't know, profanities here, obviously a lot in the stadium anyway, don't get me wrong, but do you know what I mean? Like, you're too close to it. From a family's perspective, that's what I think anyway, but
they'll never change it. They'll probably, the year we end up moving out of the stadium and into a new one, they'll change it. Like, they won't change it. If they were going to do it, they would have done it by now. It doesn't make any sense. And they always give the same sort of answers of, we're always looking at ways to improve the atmosphere and blah, 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 blah. But I mean, that has been literally a complaint by everybody since the moment they opened the stadium. Everyone was like, well, why have they done that?
I reckon it's going to be down to the finances and having to pay to have extra police and stuff like that. It's got to be something to do with that, isn't it?
Like, when was the last time you seen trouble down City? Like, really? It's been a long time.
You hardly see any coppers. We went to watch Newport County on Saturday with our boys, like grassroots football team. And the amount of police around Newport were playing Swindon. I've never seen so many police in all my life for that like League 2 game. And there's no disrespect to the size of Newport. It was a great atmosphere on the day. But the amount of police presence around, the city centre was incredible, Rob, wasn't it?
Yeah, it scared the crap out of Joseph since we gone to Newport, in fairness. He was like looking around thinking, what the hell is going on? What have I turned up to? What have you brought me to, Dad? But it was intense.
Funny enough, I got invited. I got invited to a Newport game this week. I got a friend who plays for him, and he said, if you want tickets, come down. I'll get you tickets. And I was like, yeah, maybe they're trying to poach my fanhood. See, there it is. I want to address one of these comments a minute, which Reese made, because I agree and I disagree. So he said, did you guys see Ugbo's interview with Sheffield Wednesday? He said he didn't do much at Cardiff because it was a tactical approach and he's a goal scorer who knows how to score. And Reese then says, fooled us because he couldn't do that. I do agree. But if you cast your mind back to his first couple of games, he scored a couple, didn't he? And if you remember, we were talking about him. We weren't quite sure about his link-up play and his control and, but he did seem to just have a knack of just being in the right place at the right time when the ball sort of scrambled about. So I don't think he's good enough for the Championship, but I could see him going into League One and being one of them who goes and scores like 20 goals a season. But then when he makes the jump up, he just hasn't quite got it, because I don't think his all-round game is good enough. But I do think he's just got a knack of finding the right spot, like where the ball drops, which obviously Sheffield Wednesday fighting relegation, that's what they need, isn't it? Is they need someone who's going to be in the right place at the right time. I don't know. It's a weird
Has he
one.
scored from yet?
I'm not sure, mate.
Was he played from yet?
We've got to be classed as a feeder club now to Sheffield Wednesday, and we surely.
It's weird, isn't it?
Where West Brom and things like that have always.
They give us any players back though, like the other way.
Yeah.
Like there was a couple of players I wouldn't have minded having, like over the years, like Bannon, and I would have taken Callum Patterson back me as a squad player. Not now, but a year or two ago, I would have had him. Thought he was a decent squad player. Talk to me about a goalkeeping situation then, Rob. What would you do on Saturday? Because Alnwick's kept us in the game second half. As we discussed the other day, this Howverth is championship proven. He's a big boy. Very, very, he's a very, very good championship keeper. He obviously went up with Luton and stuff. Would you I was just going to say, would you wait for Alnwick to have a bad game or to make a mistake and then drop him? Or would you just say, look, no, he's my man. We need points. He's my goalkeeper.
I think Alnwick is number one to the end of the season, personally.
Not a chance, mate.
And then he gets moved out in the season.
So
I don't think Bullock likes Alnwick. I think it'd be harsh.
Do you reckon he's going to pull a trigger on him?
It'd be harsh to drop him again, I think.
I don't think he'll drop him this week, Matt. Do you reckon he'll drop him Saturday?
I hope he don't, because it doesn't justify it. What kind of signal is that sending to the rest of the changing room if you're dropping someone? And again, we don't know what conversations Bullock's having with these players behind closed doors. They could be, I know from my personal experience, I never like being dropped for any type of game or whatever.
Yeah.
As a professional footballer, I'm sure they all want to play every single game and for as long as they can. But, I'd be surprised if he drops him.
Yeah, I don't think he drops him Saturday, but I think...
You think it's coming?
Yeah, 100%, mate, because, there's obviously something about Alnwick which he doesn't fancy, whether it's his distribution or it's the way he doesn't... My only criticism of Alnwick, personally, is he's not... doesn't dominate his box for, crosses and stuff like that. He's not that physical. But I think his distribution this year has been really, really good. I think his shot stopping has been excellent. And I think ultimately, if you can do those two things as a goalkeeper, that's half the battle. But you can tell, when they signed Runnison, the signs and the things going out to the press straight away was Runnison's there to be number one. And I think he gave Alnwick a couple of games and then he was like, Runnison's in. It was just the fact that Runnison was shocking that he ended up going back to Alnwick. I think, to me, I agree with you. You run the risk of, unless there's a general feeling in that squad that Alnwick's not up to it, which I would be surprised that that's the case because he's had more good games than bad. You've got to wait for him to make a mistake, I think, because otherwise you do run the risk of people just kind of going, well, hang on a minute, you haven't done nothing wrong. He's been playing well. He's kept us in the game on Saturday, and you're dropping him. But like I said, Howverth is
the same type of conversation he's going to have with Wintle, dropping Wintle, who had a storm on Saturday, and bringing in Turnbull.
But do you think it's slightly different for outfield players, just because he's rotated the squad throughout the season?
It's probably easier for him to have the conversation with the outfield players when they've got to chop and change it. But like I said, they'd obviously get him paid money, and he's got to have them difficult conversations. And at the end of the day, that's what he's in the job for.
Yeah, and it is tricky but I thought he did the right thing on Saturday. I know he couldn't have brought them all in because some of them had already been there 24 hours, but he gave those players like Wintle, Alnwick, players who know they've got, Collins. These players know there's players in their position who've just come in. So they know they're on, if they don't perform, they're back on the bench, innit?
Can we start some rumours and say there's another 5 coming in on Saturday?
Well, I would like to say that as we sort of look in towards the end, Robert,
yes, sir.
I'd like to see Joel Colwell get a couple of games towards the end of the season. Maybe not just yet, because I think at the moment there's still a slim chance.
Night, Lorna.
Night, Reese's mum.
as you were. Sorry.
I was going to make a joke then, but I decided I was not going to be inappropriate.
Hey, I've already done one already.
Okay. I was literally going to say I'll see you in a minute, but decided not to. Sorry, Reese.
You're
I'm sorry, Reese.
aren't you?
I apologize. Disgraceful, isn't it? But yeah, like I think it's difficult, isn't it? Because we all want these. We've all wanted some competition for places. We've all wanted certain positions to be strengthened. And now we got players to do it. It's like everyone's like, "Oh no, you got to stick with certain players." And
I just think at the end of the day, as long as he's transparent with the players that are in the squad, because at the end of the day, obviously, if a player's going to be dropped, obviously they're going to be unhappy. So it's making sure that obviously you're going about your business the right way and you're having them conversations, not just finding out via text or putting a like your team sheet up on the board. Is sitting them players down and having them conversations, and those players then will have more respect for him for doing it that way.
But here's another question, right? All right, I'll put this to both of you again. Like if you got two keepers and one's had a good season, he's been doing all right, and then you bring in the world's best keeper, like how long do you wait before you play the world's best keeper? Because if it was a left winger or a left back or a centre back, he'd be in there straight away, wouldn't he? As soon as he was match fit, and you give it a week and he'd be in there. You wouldn't hang around. Yeah. So why is it different for a keeper? I'm not saying that Howard's the best keeper in the world, but I am saying he is an exceptional championship keeper who got promoted with Luton, was it? Like he's an excellent keeper and he's got strengths in some of the areas that Alnwick has got weaknesses.
So, I don't think it can be compared to an outfield player. You can't compare it. It's not apples and apples. Apples and oranges, the differences.
You know what I mean, don't you? It's like
oh yeah, 1,000,000%, mate. 1,000,000%. And it's been that way since I ever started watching football. I'd love to give an exact answer as to why that is the case, but it's always been, for me, growing up as following football, that you don't drop your keeper halfway through the season. You stick with him. You change him in the summer. That's how I've always been known as.
Unless he's having a complete.
Unless he's gone completely Pete Tong and it's gone 100% wrong with him, like.
But then that's the weird thing. I don't think Alnwick's had a terrible, like, you know, when he got dropped after the Norwich game, I didn't think those goals were his fault. I thought the goals, at least one of them, was Collins' fault, where he switched off at the back post. And I actually thought one of them should have been stopped by NG or McGuinness. Like, I didn't really see them being his fault, but I know the manager obviously did, and I know some people, some fans did as well. Like, but I don't know. Like, I just think that if he's brought in Halvert, because otherwise you could have just had that Rohan Luhara just on the bench. If he's not going to, if you don't really want a keeper, it's just to have on the bench.
But they've had that other youngster, that is it something Turner? Is it Matthew Turner or something Turner?
Yeah, I think they got a couple of good youth keepers apparently, but again, it's like if Halvert's just going to sit on the bench, would he have signed? He signed permanent as well, didn't he?
Yeah. Not sure how much it was, but he has done a permanent, hasn't he?
Yeah. If it was me, I would wait and I would give it a couple of games because something will happen where you can justify it, whether it's a little mistake.
It'll be interesting to see how long Alnwick has got left on his contract, whether that's due up in the summer, and that was one of the reasons the keeper have signed, knowing that potentially next year.
That's what I think it is, Mark. I think that's what it is.
I'll see if I can find out now.
I reckon if he brought in for maybe the last,
he just doesn't seem to fancy him. Rob, does he?
What's that? Sorry,
I said Baloo just doesn't seem to fancy Alnwick for whatever the reason. He just doesn't seem to fancy him. He couldn't wait.
My biggest concern, and like I know this new keeper have had good reports, but obviously you've seen the mistakes or some of the mistakes that happened when that Runnison was in goal. So I just think it had an impact on Gutas, McGuinness.
Yeah, it then settled all of them.
You could see it knocked their confidence by having a weaker keeper in goals, and I'd hate for us to go back to that. You know,
I
what's the
don't
saying?
think.
Don't try and fix something if it's not broke.
100%.
Devil, innit?
Yeah, no, 100%. Funny enough, I had a conversation with someone earlier about something else, and if it's not broken, don't fix it. But Halworth is also a very good keeper, so I would be surprised if he's not in there. But look, they might just say, and like I just saw Reese in the comments say, you know, if you're the manager, you go to Alnwick and you say, listen, you're my number one. We're not, you're not getting dropped unless you have a nightmare for a few games. But I've got confidence in you. You're my number one, and then we'll go again in the summer in terms of seeing who's the number one for next year. And I mean, Alnwick gets confidence then, doesn't he? And Halworth can just focus on adapting to the club and this, that, and the other. But I just
Arsenal did the same, didn't they? Arsenal did the same. They obviously had a good keeper with Ramsdale, and he don't think he did very much wrong.
Unsettled them for a bit, though, didn't it?
What's that? Sorry,
it unsettled the defense.
Well, yeah,
for a bit.
They brought in that new keeper from
still making mistakes.
Brighton, was he? That keeper, and
I think so.
He made a few boo-boos, didn't he? And settled the shit out of him. So
I think Alnwick is out. I've just had a look on.
He signed an extension, didn't he?
Yeah, he got an extension, have he?
Yeah, I just saw someone in the comments say that Reece said he signed an extension in October, but he was due to be out of contract this summer. Yeah. So if we assume what Reece is saying is correct, that he did sign an extension, then obviously that's not an issue. If he didn't sign that extension, then obviously he'd be out of contract in the summer. But I think you've got to have two good keepers, mind. And I think Runnison was nowhere near up to it. So maybe the manager does just want someone who he knows, right, if Alnwick's out, or he just wants to know whichever keeper I pick is strong. I don't know. It's a weird one because I can't imagine that Halworth has come here to be sat on the bench. He could have done that in the Premier League. So it'll be a fascinating one, that. Very quickly, lads, I'm recording my preview tomorrow. I'd be interested to hear what formation and what 11 you guys would play against Preston on Saturday, taking into account, obviously, the opponents and their sort of the way they play, and they can be quite dangerous. Like, what would you do? And if anyone wants to drop theirs in the comments, I'll have a look at them. And I like to do a bit of market research, innit?
Well, if you'd listened to us from the start of the show, Si, you would have caught ours. But
we're repeating ourselves now, man.
It's market research for me.
No, I'm only teasing, bro.
And maybe you might change your mind after you've heard my wealth of information as well.
The Gandalf.
Right, Rob, go on. Formation. What would you go?
I'm going 4-3-3.
Okay.
Just for record, this is not what I want. This is what I think will happen.
Okay.
It'll be Alnwick in goals, McGuinness, Kudas, centre half, NG, Collins, wing backs, and it'll be Seal and Turnbull midfield. I think then Bowler and Grant on the wing, Ruben at Cam, and then the lad who sadly I can't pronounce the name for the life of me, Jeju up front. So it'll be two. I think it'll be two changes. Turnbull and Jeju starts ahead of Tet and Windle.
Interesting. Any difference to you, Matt, or are you sort of saying?
Yeah, I don't know whether or not this Phillips is going to come in. I don't know whether he's going to think he's too good just to be sat on the bench. Is a conversation we had earlier, and Rob.
Who would you drop though?
I don't know. I think I'd play all three.
So if you had to accommodate Phillips, you'd play three centre backs.
Three centre backs, NG and either Collins or that Wilson Esbrand as wing backs. Siopis and Turnbull in the middle. And then Caldwell, Grant, and Jeju up top.
Interesting. I like it. Right then, off you go, Rob. You're
But
the host, baby.
Like we were saying earlier, it's nice now that we've got so many different options.
Yeah, the bench looks super strong on Saturday, didn't it? And when you think like Robinson one in there, O'Dowda's not in there, there's a bit of depth there, isn't there? Yeah. So I'm excited for the rest of the season, me, because I don't look at it as like, oh, we're going to push for promotion or like. I think we can have like an enjoyable end to the season and just compete.
Laying the foundations, we are, Si.
Exactly
laying the foundations to keep on building.
You know, we'll win some games, we'll lose some games. I think we'll win more than we lose. So it should be fun.
What's your prediction for Saturday, Si? Me and Rob.
Well, I'm going to give that on my preview, which will be out on Friday. However, because you asked me so nicely, I will say I think Cardiff City will win 2-0.
What are you going?
I won 1-0. I did.
I was 2-1, wasn't I?
Before you end us, Rob, before you finish us, tomorrow night on Cardiff City World, Michael Chopra, City Legends Part 1 is dropping. It's going to be a belter.
Look forward to that one.
So that's going to be a good one. The Flower Hour on Saturday then. Preston preview Friday night. Don't forget to get your answers in for the giveaway. Shuts at 19:27 tomorrow night. Shall I repeat the question for anyone who missed it? Yeah, let's do that. Sorry, Rob. I know I'm holding you up now, aren't I?
No, you're
as you're looking to finish me off.
Hey.
Now. Friendlies apart, the last time a City captain exchanged a pennant was in 2008 FA Cup final. Who was our captain that day? Send your answers in the comments below this video, or you can personally message them to me. That's what she said.
Yeah, was you messaging then, or was you checking the time?
No, it's my work's phone beeping.
Yeah. Oh, your burner phone, is it?
Yeah.
No, I normally switch my work phone off, but still going.
Oh.
No days off, baby.
Yeah, boy.
No rest for the wicked, Simon. You know that as well as anybody, my friend.
Absolutely fucking not. I recorded a wicked podcast today, though.
Yeah, how did it go? All right?
Yeah, it was very good. I really enjoyed it.
Awesome.
Can't wait, but I got a couple of good ones coming on.
We haven't mentioned the Willie Boland event either tonight.
10th of May. 10th of May. Willie Boland, City Legends, Rose and Crown, Pontypridd. Get your tickets from Snowy Insole at btconnect.com. It's going to be another cracking night. Do
you know what the parking's like over that way,
I know the pub has got a car park. I have no idea how big it is and stuff like that.
It's already better than that Cardiff one already, isn't it?
Yeah, it's got to be better than where the Roman Tavern was situated. There was little to none. No, I know it's got a car park, but obviously there's going to be a few people there because tickets are selling well.
Awesome, and they're great nights as well, guys. So
it's going to be wicked, isn't it?
If you can get there, you won't be disappointed.
I spoke to another ex-player today regarding an upcoming potential event, a former captain, former manager as well.
Tell us after.
I can't keep a secret. I'm so shit today. I just can't help myself. No, I got some good ones. So we got Willie Boland, 10th of May. There's another one which is all but sorted. We're just waiting for confirmation because they've had a death in the family, so we're just waiting for some things to be done and whatnot. That'll be announced very soon. I believe that's going to be up. I can't say actually, but it's another different area again. And then we got one in Cardiff, not at the Roman Tavern. No, it'll be somewhere else. It's going to actually down the bay, and that's like an old school retro one for the older ones of my age. Be a really enjoyable one. And that one, I'm hoping that one will be a nice keep tickets. It might even that one be a bring your own booze night as well, or it might be that it'll either be super cheap tickets and bring your own booze, or it'll be slightly more expensive, like 20 quid for a ticket, but you'll get drinks supplied for you. But we'll see.
Or to get one of them boats down the bay, and have a party.
Just
boat.
Have a party. Don't even bother getting a footballer there. Just have a party.
Swim.
No, it's got got some good ones. Got some good ones coming, and got one at least one special one this year, and I might have one. I might even gonna try and do like a Christmas one, sort of first week of December, and make it a party as well. But we'll see. We'll see. I was trying to find a venue for like something like that, like a Christmas party. Trying to find one that's in the right area where everyone can
Rob
get
said
to
you
it.
dress up as Santa.
As long as he's a blue Santa, Rob.
Ho freaking ho.
Right. Let you do your outro now, Rob. You've got to do all, got to tell the people all the stuff, and you do your thing, man.
Do my shing. So thank you guys for coming on. Obviously, Ainge, much love as always, mate. Massively appreciate you coming on and hanging me through this. Appreciate it. Si, nice one for bombing on. Appreciate it, mate. Don't forget, guys, to like and subscribe to Ace Podcast Nation. The price of a pint of Carl in a month, you can get early access to lots of shows, behind the scene footage, and early access tickets for said Willie Boland and much, much more. And apart from that, guys, I'd like to bid you farewell.
See you Saturday.
Nice one.
That's not bad.
He's got to find the button first, doesn't he?